Double up.
Is your phone silenced?
It's a good idea. I'm always on vibrate. There you go.
Is your insulin full?
That's also a good idea.
Oh, shit. That's a good question. Let's see. Phone good, insulin good enough?
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Dudes Watch a Movie podcast, where, like the government shutdown, we don't make money.
Was that?
Yep.
Wow.
5 seconds in.
So
Political.
clever.
I just want everyone to know that he was so excited to say that. That he told us before we went to the bell.
Silly, you fun hater. Jeez.
I mean, I'm not saying it was bad. It was a good one. I did not see it coming. Very dislike this movie. Continue.
Jerk. So this is episode 39, and we decided, well, I don't know if we decided as much as forced into having you watch what you probably didn't want to watch, which Correct. I've been forced into doing for some of these films. It's only fair.
He had a choice.
No, I didn't.
You had a choice
Nope.
in as much as you have choice.
All right.
Choice is an illusion.
So, with that being said, we watched Bandersnatch on Netflix currently, and probably still by the time any of you decide to watch this, because it is a Netflix thing, and they tend to keep their own content on there.
Correct.
So, right off the bat, there was no tagline, I'm sorry. I can't read a tagline like I usually do. Let me triple check, because I didn't do my homework.
Do you want to play the game where we make up our own taglines in?
Choice. Family. Speed.
Well, shit, you
This
should have gone
Christmas.
last. I can't beat that.
Choice, maybe next year.
I can't beat that. That's no, he wins. I was gonna say, man, this is familiar.
I mean, it's
have we
not
been
that.
here before?
So the premise is, in 1984, a young programmer begins to question reality as he works to adapt a fantasy novel into a video game.
I was just doing some background music for you.
No, it already has background music. He wants to come. So yes, this was released December 28th of 2018.
That might make this the
Most recent?
I was gonna say most up to date we've ever done, but I mean we did Stranger Things, which was like the day it came out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we did Bandy, which I think was also like within that first week it was out.
True.
But still, very, very current as opposed to what we normally do.
True. Currently, it is rated a 7.4 on IMDb. However, in popularity, it is dropping a little bit. It said 37, then dropped 22. So I don't know.
What's that mean?
I have no.
Yeah, what metric is that?
Freaking idea. My guess
in
is
a row?
reviews. 37 dicks. We're saying this again. So anyway, those of you do not know, probably maybe you do, Bandersnatch is one of Black Mirror's little side spin things where they kind of went, I'd like to say above and beyond and counteract to what you were probably going to think. I also forgot to introduce ourselves. Not to get past that point, I am Dead Sprocket. We have Lance and the Notorious G.I.N.G. This is unconventional.
It's okay. I'm sure I'll already put in the at some point.
Probably.
You know?
We didn't do it last time either, so.
Right. Well, it's to that point where if we don't do it, the nameplate's still there, so it's whatever.
Yeah, it is what it is.
We're not what you call organized and or professional. Correct.
That's
why we make the no bucks.
Demonetized.
How much money do we make, Tom? Make $0?
0 cents. Awkward.
Bandersnatch sounds really dirty.
It does.
What were your initial thoughts before watching it?
So initial thoughts, I was actually excited for it. For those who've probably seen the Black Mirror series, you probably were as well. Overall, though, because of it all, I enjoyed it. It was very, very, very Black Mirror-esque. If I know you haven't seen a whole lot of them, you've seen like one or two.
This one.
I've seen all of them. With that being said, there's a lot of nods to the previous episodes, which those who have seen them will catch. Those who don't, it's just part of the background. So I guess overall thoughts, I enjoyed it, just because it was a interesting take on a new way to view something. And myself, I've always been a big fan of choose your own adventure books. the first one I ever had.
You can't use that term. You'll get sued.
Really?
Really?
You don't know about this? Netflix is getting sued right now because they use the term
Choose Your Own Adventure. Is it trademarked?
They're
copywritten?
Yeah. They're afraid that because of the possible violence that goes on, spoilers, in Bandersnatch, that's going to, kids are going to be searching Choose Your Own Adventure, and then that comes up.
So what do other books call that then if they can't legally call it Choose Your Own Adventure?
Do they call it? Has anyone else?
So Goosebumps is where I was most familiar with
That's
that.
the first
they
time
have
it came
the,
across
the
But did
Horrorland,
they-
right? Or something like
The
that.
one I read was Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That was a Choose Your Own
Did
Adventure.
they? Also, is Goosebumps? Oh, Goosebumps. Who
God
owns
damn it.
the trademark? I wonder if that's like a branch connected to Goosebumps.
I don't know. Like if they're under the same umbrella.
Either or, I'm sure they went through and
Yeah.
said, "Hey, can we use this thing?" And
Which
they're
makes
like,
more sense
"Sure."
because Goosebumps is also
Money, a book.
child-oriented as
Yeah.
well. But
Even though it's
Parachute Press.
horror.
owns the trademark or owns Goosebumps?
Original Goosebumps series, followed by the success of Stein's young adult horror novels, the co-founder of Parachute Press, the company that developed the series. Joan Warshisha persuaded him to write scary books, so I'm guessing since Parachute Press is the people who developed it, I assume they own Goosebumps?
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, are they the ones that own the trademark, the ones that are suing for
That
the
one I
Choose Your
don't
Own
know.
Adventure label?
Either or, I
Right.
find it a little strange. I mean, I would say they're not the same. It's more of a ubiquitous term,
Right, yeah. Like,
But-
what else would they possibly
Well,
call it?
and that's why they're suing for it,
Yeah.
to keep it from losing the trademark
Which,
altogether.
Oh, there it is. Choose Co. Choose Choose Your Own Adventure trademark owner is the one who are suing Netflix over Bandersnatch.
I mean, there's just not, there's not a really
No
good
other way to describe
alternative. Yeah, it would be like multiple outcome story or
Pick
something.
your own
Yeah.
adventure. Would that
Choose your
that's too-
narrative,
Yeah.
or multi-thread narrative, branching narrative. What does Telltale call it? That's kind of the same exact thing.
Right, which,
You have A, B option,
correct.
and then you choose a path.
Right. That's a good question because I would assume the branching narrative is probably what they would call it, and that seems like the most technical term to call it.
How the U.S. is so happy. So Choose Co. is suing Netflix for trademark infringement and dilution over the streaming service's new hit, willfully and intentionally using the trademark to capitalize on viewers.
I
That's
think
something
this
else
is helping Choose Co. more than the opposite.
right.
Yeah.
I get why they're doing it. Xerox, they lost their copyright because the term Xerox became so ubiquitous with just copying stuff.
Like Q-tips, cotton
Kleenex.
swabs. Yeah, that
If
sort of thing.
if you don't aggressively defend your copyright, you will lose it. So I get that, but no one. I think it's a reasonable assumption that no one's going to confuse Choose Your Own Adventure with Bandersnatch.
Right. And I also think at this point,
Given we're not lawyers, though.
this is for obvious reasons. I don't know the last time Choose Your Own Adventure was even like a marketable, popular thing. Like, I remember it when we were children. I don't remember hearing about it ever since then. So I would think they would be more apt to want to attach their brand name to something like that in order to,
revitalize
like,
it?
correct.
I think a big problem is they didn't get the money for it.
Most likely, yeah.
If Netflix was saying like, hey, we just want to use this term, which even anywhere in the promotional material does it say this is a choose your own adventure story?
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's more of
That's what we're ascribing
media.
to it.
Yeah, like media.
We're
has put that
saying
label.
it's a
Are we
choose your own
media?
adventure story. Media, pop culture in
Right,
general
yeah,
is
yeah.
saying it.
That makes sense.
No one actually at Disney says this is now social justice warrior Star Wars, but that's what some people ascribe to it.
I would think most likely this will be settled out of court and they'll get
Oh,
some,
yeah, absolutely.
some chunk of change and
They're-
then they'll be happy about it.
They're going to pay him off out of court.
Yep.
We're never going to hear about it. And then it's going to be called a branching narrative episode.
Yeah.
Or some other generic term for
Or
choose
maybe
your own
they'll be good enough with the payment to be like, go ahead, just keep calling it Choose Your Own Adventure. We don't give a fuck. We just want the money.
Ideally.
Yeah.
Anyway,
We
back
wanna
to the
protect
original
kids.
question. What was your original thoughts over it?
I thought this is going to be garbage, but everyone's going to love it. And we're going to see nothing but branching narrative episodes in everything from now on. After watching it, yep, we're going to see branching
Netflix
narratives.
has confirmed that they are planning on doing more branching narratives
If-
Let me do it
in
better.
upcoming episodes.
So while I never watched Black Mirror. This is the first episode. I've heard good things about it, but I'm a little iffy on the actual presentation. The quality for what it is good,
Correct.
but
Yeah.
there are a lot of things that, like you even said this, you like halfway through, you're like, we get it already, just move on.
Yes.
They just kept hammering certain points to try to teach you something. They never let you.
They
never let you go.
That's been my biggest issue with Black Mirror. Like quality wise, top notch. Like it looks good, well written in terms of like dialogue, character acting is always really good, but they're too ingrained in trying to stick to a cliche on every episode. So everything I have seen done in other media many times before, and it's clearly like an homage or nod to that, but it doesn't work for me because I've seen that.
That's not just Black Mirror. That's almost everything Netflix does. You ever seen Spectre?
No.
That was a Netflix movie. Halfway through the movie, I realized this is just aliens. Okay, now they're doing Terminator. Okay, now it's Predator.
Right.
If you're gonna homage something or have something that feels like it, just do that. Kill Command, another Netflix movie, same thing. Feels like Predator mixed with a little bit of Alien.
And I think that's an issue that we're running into now, where obviously every idea that's ever going to be made has been done, and so now it's all about putting different spins and like mixing things together. But we're in this weird time where it's less about trying to take inspiration and more about straight up trying to like recall this or be like, oh, this is that and this is there.
You mean like nostalgia?
Yeah, but almost like a cheap way of doing it. Like most Netflix things that I watch that I enjoy, obviously the Marvel ones, which are kind of excluded from that because they're basing it off of a source, so they should be adhering to something that is familiar if you've read those books. But the best thing that I think Netflix has done is Stranger Things, and I think they find the good balance of giving you the nostalgic feeling while still telling like their own. They've got enough uniqueness to what they're telling that it doesn't feel like you know exactly where this is going, you know what's coming next. And I think that's because they're a higher level of storytelling than who they get to do most of these other ones.
So, what did you feel like Bandersnatch was homaging, or what did it? Because I got a real number 23, the Jim Carrey movie vibe.
Butterfly Effect.
Butterfly Effect definitely on there. And my ending that I got was very Donnie Darko-ish.
Yep, that was another one I was thinking, especially
Those are
when
the
he's
big
playing
three.
with the acid stuff.
Not even that. So we stopped right after, spoilers, he kills his dad.
Right.
Which I have issues with the whole branching path stuff that I might get into later. But further on, you can go back, figure out where your dad put the bunny, go back to the chest, the safe.
Yep, that has
get
all
the
this
bunny
stuff.
back. Then you go back through a mirror, because mirrors are a doorway through time. You put the bunny back as a child, and then you find the bunny, and your mom's like, hey, do you want to still go with me? We got to take the later train. And you get the choice to go with her, even knowing that you're going to die. So very much a Donnie Darko.
So he kills
chooses
himself to
die.
save. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's
me that question.
It's just sorry. He was naming things
Taking
that
all
he was
fucking
naming things that I was
conversations.
thinking I had to
It's
jump in.
cool. I see how it is.
We can defer to you on
okay.
things.
Well,
and-
What
Are you
did you
gonna take it
feel?
over?
What did you feel? Go ahead, Thomas.
Honestly, I was really big onto either Butterfly Effect or Donnie Darko, only because recently we watched that video about how if Donnie Darko is deep or
Deep or
dumb.
dumb. That's a fantastic.
Wisecrack?
Yeah, it's a
there was-
fantastic channel.
I need to watch that.
There was a part on there where it really intrigued me was the guy who talks about how we have our little like tubes that we follow, how it's an actual kind of theory that someone's come up with, which I thought was fucking brilliant. But at the same time, it makes me wonder, like, it just gets you thinking, like, are you really or are you not? Which I suppose is the whole premise of it all. But I got that feeling watching this because you're essentially, and in the dark mirror or black mirror fashion, it's all about how technology is controlling people's lives, which is their whole premise. The black mirror is a black screen, whatever. And so this one puts it in your hands to then be the all-seeing eye, the god, to try and push you forward, or I guess push the character forward. And that's when I made that immediate connection watching that episode with, hey, that's very much like it. So I don't know if maybe the premise bounces off that idea.
And before we get off the inspiration or things that are reminiscent of it, it's also got a really big Truman Show situation where it turns out his whole life was a lie, and even a little bit of Ex Machina, where they've got like that fake area set up, and then it's like, who's the test subject, what's getting tested, what's going on, do you have free will, does the robot think for itself, or is it all programming? But you were talking about Black Mirror's whole thing is about technology and how it controls your life, and I think out of the episodes I've seen, this was the worst at encapsulating that, because technology does play a part. It is video game based, but the core idea has no ties to technology whatsoever. It's they dip into like drug theory and like almost CIA conspiracies and tests and things like that, more so than it does like, is this game taking over and things like that.
Well, that's the thing. It's supposed
MK
to be
Ultra.
Right. Yeah.
That was another thing going on.
It's supposed to be putting you in the shoes of how the previous episodes are. So the story itself doesn't have that, but it's supposed to flip the whole idea on it.
And it does definitely
to
fit.
involve you.
It fits the Black Mirror like mold
Aesthetic.
of like the aesthetic, the feel of a Black Mirror episode.
So a problem the biggest thing I hate about this is that it entices me with, like in the very beginning, the whole Tucker Soft thing, like, oh, this is going to be about how shitty the video game industry was back in the day before the boom. And then it's going to be about multiple realities and the butterfly effect going back. So the reason I made you pick yes to accept the job is because I know that was a beginner's trap.
Okay, yeah.
There's no way you could have known that's an end decision.
And then he
the game
very
right
clearly
there.
says wrong path, and I was like,
Yeah.
great. Okay.
They're very heavy-handed with
Very.
Colin.
Very.
Everything he says, I started to like it, and then I started to hate it.
Not even him, everybody.
Pretty much.
It
Yeah.
irritated the shit out of me.
This is the problem with the whole, even in video games, the deep branching narrative. Which one do you want? I have to fill time while you decide. This, I don't know. This one.
Prime
and then
example.
it cuts into.
Prime example, and the first one that like irritated me, because like when he says wrong path, I was like, okay, and then whatever, a little chuckle.
Yeah.
But when he's at the therapist and they're waiting, do you want to talk about your mom or not? She's like, who knows what you might uncover.
That gets even worse if you say no.
Oh,
Because it
geez.
forces you like 2 more times. Are you sure? I really think you should talk about your feelings. No, I don't.
The camera just keeps getting
this.
closer and closer and closer and closer.
That really annoyed me.
Yep.
The second time I went through. But did they entice me with that, with the Truman Show aspect, with is it a government conspiracy? Is it a demon and like the 23? He's going insane, reading the same stuff. The problem is because it's branching narrative, they can't explore all those paths.
Correct.
If they would have just done one episode, one theory, and then different stuff, I would have loved it way more.
Right.
But you can't, because the whole point, the whole gimmick is you choose which path you take.
And that was the other big issue I had, where it was trying to do too much but never like fully doing any of it. And I want to like, in terms of choose your own adventure games themselves, like, are either of you fans of that sort of media?
Yeah.
I think I own the Walking Dead series. I never actually fully played it though.
So
Fable was mine.
yeah, and that was
I played that.
Did you call
decent one.
Fable a choose your own adventure?
In a way, it had
Yeah.
quests you could finish your own way, which had the outcomes later on.
Yep.
Like I like the idea of your actions affect the world around you.
Real quick.
That's one of the one. Go ahead.
Before I forget this, it's something that I'm glad they brought up, but I still don't forgive them for. You don't really have a choice in this.
That's what we're getting to.
This and the whole point. Colin's whole thing is you have the illusion of choice. Like, okay, I like that you brought that up, but that doesn't save you from the fact that you don't give me enough options.
Right.
Like, there's really only 4 or 5 endings. Like, you kill your dad, And then there's the sub endings of you kill him because Pax made you do it.
Okay.
Or you kill him because he's a government agent.
Okay.
Or you kill Tucker, your boss, because he comes over, check in on you. Or Colin comes over and you kill him. Or Colin's wife comes over and you kill her.
I would say killing Colin was quite entertaining for me because he's just like, okay, yeah, go ahead and do it. And he's like, don't use the knife. That's really painful and long.
This is what pisses me off. Colin, as a character, clearly knows what you're doing. He's clearly involved, and he knows that either we, Netflix, the controller...
Because he does acid.
Right.
Because, of course, drugs give him powers.
The whole butterfly effect.
Yeah.
When you go back the first time, things change. I'm like, oh, cool. Like butterfly effect.
Yep.
We're going to see different outcomes. Colin is aware of what we are doing. Where does this go? Never pays off.
Right. That was such an interesting twist when you first come back after failing the first one, and now he knows the things he didn't know. And you think they're going to play with that, but they don't.
When
it's just the one
when
time.
you finally get to kill Colin, you try to stab him. Oh, don't use those. Those are pointy and they hurt. Here, bash me in the head. All right, see you in the next life.
Kind of makes you feel like
wrong choice.
I thought
Try
he was
again.
like a time traveler, but
They never played with that. If they had more time, or if that was the
I
only
wish they would have,
narrative.
because he was one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
And he's by far the most interesting person in
He's
this.
very
even though
Dr. Gonzo-esque to me.
Oh, Hunter S. Thompson?
Yeah, he kind of has those little
yeah.
tweaks about
I
it.
was getting a little fear and loathing vibe with the acid.
So my very first note in here, and this I wrote this after the what did you call it, the false trap or whatever?
Oh, the beginner's trap.
The beginner's trap. So as soon as that happened, I wrote in, this has the same issue as the games it's based on, an illusion of choice, but if you pick the wrong answer, then you start over. It's going to be another free will versus fate story. And at that point, I checked out. That's why when I had to go to the bathroom, I was like, just let it keep going, because I know what's happening. It's such a tired story, and like there's obviously tons of good movies that have done that, but I don't know that adding the layer of the choose your own adventure helped that in any way. If anything, correct. And it made it, I have a note in here also that says, this gimmick can suck my butt. Like, I get that it wants to try something new, and I give them all the credit in the world for that. I think that choose your own adventure could have a future, but I don't think it was too much to make it about the same subject as what you're playing, and then they have all the winks and nods to the camera and the people talking about, oh, do you have fate, do you choose, or is it predetermined? But you mentioned Fable, and that's not one I would have thought of for choose your own adventure, but that makes sense because the world does react, and I think that is the better end of how they could approach this. They make it minor choices for the majority of it, like what cereal do you want to eat, what music do you want to listen to.
That was more just teaching you the mechanic.
Right, which is totally fine. But they should have made it more like that, where you pick important character choices, and then depending on what you pick, it affects how the other people in the world look at that character. The only game I can think of that follows the choose one and then it actually seems to affect, the best one I can think of is Until Dawn, because you can have every single character die, you can get to the end with everyone alive, other people can die here and there, but the majority of them are the same thing as this, where it'll let you pick something, but it's kind of like picking a line of dialogue in like an adventure game, where it's like what do you want to, how do you want to respond, and then no matter which one you pick, they say the same things just with different tones. So he'll say it kind of angrily, or he'll word it a little bit nicer.
I would even say Until Dawn has that same problem.
It does.
It doesn't matter if you get to the very end with everyone alive, rather than just having one cutscene of one guy sneaking out. It's you have to repeat that again and again and again and again. If you get to the end, you get a little more flavor text, but it's still, you survived a horrific experience. Did you go back and save person in the cave? Did they get stuck?
You do at least have...
Does the Wendigo come back?
You at least have choices that have some form of actual repercussion, because you can...
Not ultimately.
But doesn't it have like the
But you can have people die, though, and not make it to the end.
Because like, doesn't the
To a
one
degree.
guy...
To a degree.
We're going to get way in the hole
To
here.
a degree, yes, but what I'm saying here is they were giving you the choice of letting a character die, but it didn't matter. Immediately they just came back. other than I guess Colin, whatever his fucking name was.
That was another issue.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you made like the ending choice, you woke up as if it was a dream or a vision.
Which is one of the most frustrating fucking cliches
Yeah.
of all cinema.
If it would have stayed on that path and done like a Donnie Darko or a Butterfly Effect, where okay, Stefan can travel back and restart, but Colin also has the ability, and they're altering different things. So you have just this mind fuck going on. If you were to follow that, that makes sense. But if you do that and then take the government control ending, what was the point of that?
Right.
It's
And like, it's hard to be super harsh about it because they do a really good job of showing basically how the episode was made while they're working on the game in the episode, like how the branching has to work and what happens if you don't have something properly coded, it crashes. If you don't have something properly shot, you can't follow that branch. And I realized that if they had given you the amount of freedom that I would have liked out of it, like say when we chose the main character to jump, I would have loved it if he just legitimately died and the rest of the episode was about the other guy like having to deal with the repercussions of telling this dude to jump while they're on acid.
I was really hoping for that.
But that would also require so much more shooting, and that's potentially a huge money pit that you're jumping into where people may never see the fruits of that labor. But I think I want to say that's my biggest issue is they didn't go as far as they could have, but I think this episode is more of a proof of concept to show that people would get interested in it, and now they have confirmed. So I'm kind of excited going forward, but I'm afraid they're going to be the same thing where it's just, this is our narrative, we're going to make you watch this, and at that point, just film the episode regularly and let me sit back and watch it.
Yeah. Name one 3D movie that lived up to Avatar.
I don't even think Avatar lived up to Avatar.
Exactly. Any movie that followed it. Get the fuck out. Go.
Not in this good Christian neighborhood. I can't think
The
of.
council has spoken.
I can't think of a single 3D movie that has benefited from being 3D.
Yeah, they're just gonna follow it.
Yeah, there are some that are better than others, but none of them are worth it.
If
Had
we're
we
lucky,
watched it-
it'll just be Netflix that used it, and then no one else.
Had we watched Spider-Verse, maybe that would have been worth it watching 3D.
No, I mean it still would have been fine, but it doesn't heighten my experience that it's in a fake 3D. And they're getting to the point now where it's just a matter of trying to make a slight bit of depth between the subject and the background.
That's the thing about, I think, with Avatar is I feel that it was one of those movies that was made for 3D.
It was 100%.
Where they have those, I'm going to throw this at the camera.
My whole point is the gimmick 3D or choose your own adventure
Right.
narrative. They're going to see the success of this and then say, well, now we want to do it, but they're only going to copy the formula and not improve on it. If Black Mirror or Bandersnatch 2 or whatever improves upon it and gives us more options that we actually want, you can do that in a game. I don't know if you can do that in a film structure.
Right.
Unless it
It's
comes out
just too much
episode by
work.
episode. I mean, if they did it episodic, it might be interesting.
Now
then-
you have branching paths within branching paths within branching
And
paths.
that's where you get the game crash.
That's where reality breaks.
Luckily, the only thing that I somewhat feel confident in is I think it'll be relegated to this sort of platform. I'm sure, obviously Netflix is going to do it. They've confirmed that. I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon or Hulu tried to put things out, but I don't think there will be a time it'd be impossible to try and do that in a theater unless it was group choice, which at that point,
Voters'
Do you remember?
choice.
it would be kind of funny, but I would be afraid that it would be even more condensed so that no matter what everyone picks, it still works out. Which
Do you remember Pokemon or Twitch Plays Pokemon?
Yes.
That's all it's going to be. It's going to be, let's do the good thing. Everyone else, let's fuck everyone over.
Right, and that's what I was excited for when he first started, because I was like, oh, we can pick one, because there are Telltale games where you can have a group pick what's going to happen, and you can pick the derpy one, and it just doesn't pan out.
I don't know if you picked up on this, but when the choice was coming up and I said, hey, Tom, you want to do some drugs? Like, hey, let's take the drug path first.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we've both watched.
I assumed we were about to watch a drug thing happen, but I didn't know it was the path is what you're getting
There's
at.
no
Missed
way.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just I want to say more power to him for trying it, but I don't
It's a unique concept.
Yeah, I don't ever think I'll watch another one. I didn't want to watch it to begin with, and mostly due to
apparent.
Yeah, mostly it was a mixture of I didn't think the format would work, and I also am burnt out on the hype train that comes out for new releases. Like, same reason I don't really ever plan on watching Bird Box. I don't want to go full I am smart Reddit page, right?
Hipster.
Not even that, but like I've seen a lot of movies, like a lot, and I'm a dummy, but even within 10 minutes of this movie, I knew like what they're getting at. And I feel like Netflix's big thing is they want to appeal to the mass, which means they also have to accommodate to people who don't watch a shit ton of movies, that do need their hands held. And it's the same problem that's going on in movie theaters right now, where they don't let you sit back and try and piece things together yourself. So I'm getting to the point where I've seen this narrative a bunch of times, and then on top of that, they're really, like I said, hammering it in there that this is a fate versus free will thing, and the winks and the nods to the camera, and trying to hold your hand through it, and like, oh, you picked the wrong choice. Don't worry, we'll get them next time, pal. And I think a lot of people are hyping these movies up because they're just like a casual watcher of movies, so they have not seen something along these lines. Like, maybe they watched Black Mirror and they haven't seen a bunch of sci-fi or horror, and so they're like, this is such a fresh new idea. Or they watch Bird Box and they're like, oh man, what a fresh idea. But it's the same thing as multiple other horror movies where it's Medusa, don't look at her.
Maybe we just indulge in too much media and can no longer enjoy it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to sound like I am smart, but it's more like I have too much free time.
You've seen it done better in different places.
Correct.
So, side tangent that connects. Were either of your minds blown with Inception? Or
Yes.
did you easily understand what it was and couldn't understand why everyone was so freaking out about it?
Both.
I am the everyman.
Right.
So yes, my mind was blown about it. But
I thought it was a very simple concept to understand.
Yeah, like conceptually, I'm with you. Like, I was aware of lucid dreaming. I understand all of that. I was blown away by the actual,
Execution.
that's what I was
exactly
gonna
the
say,
filming
yeah.
of it, how they were able to get that, and like the layers of it and the sound. But like, concept wise, yeah, like it was not hard to follow.
Yeah.
Other than the top spin at the end was the only slight bit of like that's what you
That
get to
I
think
really
about it.
hate, because it was deliberate.
Yep.
That was made to make you think, was he or wasn't he? He wasn't. That wasn't his totem.
Right, because it's his ring.
Yeah.
But
it was made to sit there and wobble, and then right for the cut, a little bit of a shake, like, oh, what happened? That was designed to be like that.
I love that though, because that is what encourages you to go back and watch it. Like, it took me, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 times. I've seen it enough times, like a couple times. Like, I don't plan on watching it again. But like the first time going through, there's so much going on that I'm not thinking, oh, it's his ring. I do also think it's his top, and like, well, isn't he? But then after you go back consecutive times, you see him playing with his ring, and it's like, oh, I see.
I had that the first time I finished Bandersnatch, because I didn't realize there's only like 6 or 7 endings. There's officially 10, but they're all just side pieces of another one. And I'm like, oh, I'm done. I want to keep going. I eventually go back, but it's like, no, you figured out everything. There's nothing left to explore.
Yep. Did this did not take an hour and a half, right?
Well, we stopped pretty quick.
That's what I
because
thought.
at the end, when the starts rolling credits, you can go back and you choose your different choices. And after you choose your different choices, there actually becomes a point in there where it takes a turn where it didn't happen originally, or even the second time through. Even that third time, they have something else to make it a little bit more interesting.
That's what I was wondering, if the hour and a half was like the longest possible outcome that you could get. Because I remember watching, I was like, how fucking long is this going to be?
Because, like I said, with a choice between PAX and then PAC, and then it turns into the Galaga machine, and then it turns into Netflix, and then it has its own derivative of Netflix when he starts talking to his father. So, I mean, there's a lot more to it.
I have issues with that. I don't count those as endings. Like, I don't count the beginner trap as an ending.
Are those like
sub-
side arcs?
The sub
Well, because, okay,
endings.
so if you choose PAX, all that happens is you turn around and there's the demon and he grabs you.
I did like the demon. Just
And then you
to
go
throw that
back.
out there. I like the demon design. Just if I can
Yeah.
throw that out real quick.
If you don't have anything, you just choose JFD and then Jerome Davis is behind you, he grabs you, and then it's done. Like, it's just the exact same thing. Or you're only switching out the demon for the writer.
There's differences also, like when you pick the book over the picture and all that stuff too. I don't know.
If you pick the picture, you go in, you have a dream about your dad taking it.
I think that's where you start.
And then if you go back and type in toy by choosing the book, you get the rabbit. That's where you go back. But then you have to know that mirrors are a window through time. Mm-hmm. So they're like that one I count because that is branching stuff. But if you just choose PAX, that's nothing. Nothing happens.
It's a pointless choice.
Even Netflix, which does carry on, which may have my favorite line.
What?
Yeah, fucked your day up right, good and proper, didn't we? Me and my friend from the future. You start talking to him. It's like, who's controlling me? Hi, I'm watching you on Netflix. What the fuck's Netflix? 21st century streaming platform.
Mm-hmm.
Son, do you feel okay?
It's irritating me just thinking about it.
I'm being controlled by someone from the future.
Did you get the kick-ass ending?
Which one?
Oh, where the therapist turns around and she becomes full of kung fu, and then someone else comes in.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
Ridiculous ending.
I don't. That's part of the Netflix thing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want to have sexual relations with that therapist.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
That's all I could think of the entire time. Like, I want to
turn.
I want to fuck this therapist. Like, this is weird. Why?
I couldn't stop looking at her eyes. They had like a weird, like, almost kind of droop to them, like she was infinitely sad, but her eyebrows were fine. It was strange.
I don't know where that keeps coming from.
Oh, Jesus.
Maybe it's a therapist.
No, did you go back and get the one where
I tried to after
the window scene
exhausted them? Yeah.
Yeah. There's
did you
one
just look
where
up like online like pathways you could take
after
to
about
change
the
time?
first 3 or 4 different endings, I wanted to make sure that I had picked each one because I just wanted to see what concepts they came out with for like different ideas. Mm-hmm. And I mean, some of them in my own mind were a pretty unique way to end it, but granted it all kind of ends up kind of doing the same thing where like the one that kind of felt very Black Mirror to me is when it ends up being like he's on a set because there's a part in there where he's you hadn't seen that one,
right? But
he's on
I
the
assume
set
it's similar
with a therapist, and then he's like, "Where am I? Why am I here? What's going on?" Which is very Black Mirror. Which obviously you guys haven't seen the rest of them, but there's always a little bit in there that just it's like a torture to a character. Mm-hmm. And each episode kind of has that, and there's a few wholesome episodes as well. But overall, I mean, I did enjoy that they had those outcomes that are very familiar to those who are dedicated to the series.
And I do have a question in my notes here, and unfortunately Lance won't be able to answer this because he has not seen any of them, but what is your favorite Black Mirror episode? If there's any way to go like in depth without super spoil, unless you just want them spoiled, which is totally fine.
I plan on watching them. I tried watching USS Callister. Mm-hmm. Another thing, I was terrified this was going to be cringy. Like the kid's a little on the spectrum, a little autistic.
Yep.
I was afraid there was going to be like, oh, I don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. They're like, what are you, a fucking loser?
So
I'm Jason Statham now.
This might be a good launch off point then, because then we can recommend which one you think is the best and which one best represents, like, because I would assume what one we think is the best is which one we would say that's the one you got to see if you're going to get into it. So what is your, like, if you're going to recommend somebody watch Black Mirror and you're not just going to say, yeah, you just got to watch it, like, tell if you're going to be like, this is the one you need to watch.
The one that really got me, so there's one where the dude goes to play a video game that has to do with virtual reality, essentially. That's the one because it really kind of blew my mind. It almost had that alternate ending feel to it because he keeps going back, and then but the timeline itself keeps getting shortened in a way. And that's the one that I saw that was like, whoa.
That is a good episode.
The concept really kind of blew my mind. I was like, I have to watch the rest of these. They didn't hold up as well, I feel, compared to that episode, but they still kind of had that little dark feel to it. I'm going to try and find the one for you so that way you at least watch it.
So, you got more?
I was going to tell you, as I was talking earlier, there's the subtle nods to each episode, like little in the background. Metalhead is a game that was in the background that's from a previous episode. Nosedive was also another episode, which was the name of Colin's game.
Can we talk about how fucking awful they spelled Nosedive?
It was supposed to be hip and cool, man. It's the 80s.
We'll come back to the 80s bit in a second.
We talk about how great the graphics look on some of those games for 84.
You're right. So my favorite episode of Black Mirror, and I'm not going to be able to tell you the name of the episode. Hopefully you'll be able to find it, but it revolves around this like mysterious, almost like Anonymous, and they're contacting people, but they're like a much more malicious version of Anonymous, where they get a piece of dirt on them that they wouldn't want anyone else to know, and then they start saying, go do this, or we tell them, and then they keep ramping up the issue of what it is that they have to do. And I think
Playtest.
Is that yours?
Playtest is the
It's
one
got,
coming out.
you watch Game of Thrones, right?
Yes.
The episode I like, I think has Braun in it. Isn't that right? Doesn't he?
What is it, the one you're talking about? Sorry, I was looking it up.
So the like anonymous type people get dirt on this kid who's on his computer, and there's something
Shut
in
Up
his
and
search.
Dance.
Yes, and so there's something in his search history, and he doesn't want anyone to see it, and then so he has to do this, do that, do this, do that, or we'll tell him. And he ends up teaming up with Braun, who's also got they've got something on him, and it's progressively worse. And they're always like, I don't want to do this, but I also don't want people to know. And the whole time you're just like, what is it that he was doing on there? What it is? And when they finally show you, they don't show you, but they tell you, it's one of the best twists I've ever seen, because the whole time I'm feeling bad for this kid, and then once they say it, I'm just like, and
That sounds kind of like...
that kid is on the spectrum, by the way.
Okay. That sounds kind of like a movie.
Yeah, that's the Black Mirror thing.
Isn't it
It's
like
definitely an
million-
idea that's already been done.
Isn't it $1 million? Like the guy first did something like eat a fly, and then it's something really simple later, and then but other people are also playing.
I'm remembering something like yeah, everyone joins the game and everyone dares people to do
There's also
something.
Nerve.
And then if you do it within
Nerve,
time, you get money. Mm-hmm. So it's like, go shoplifting.
Does it have Machine Gun Kelly in the movie?
I don't know who that is.
Is it called Nerve? Do they ride a motorcycle with a thing over their mask?
I have no idea.
No. Well,
Vape Wars?
sick.
Have Emma Roberts.
It's super good. It's a
I have
good
no idea.
one though. That one by far like stuck out to me the most, because like we said, Black Mirror is every episode is an idea you've already seen done, so it's a matter of how they can do it differently to make you feel for the characters. And that one I was like,
They have other
did a
episodes
hard
like
turn.
that.
And I was like, oh fuck.
There was one where this lady wakes up and people are acting really weird, and then something happens, and then they're like,
Yep.
"Oh, that's why this is
Yep.
happening to her." Yep. So yeah, I definitely recommend watching some of them. Just
I mean,
at least
I'm
a
going
few.
to. This
same
alone has
anybody
kind of turned me on to it.
Nice, just like that therapist.
Final. Yeah, I don't know what that was. I don't know where that came from.
Oh,
But when she
boy.
had the coffee like dripping down her face, she was all wet and like
I missed that one. I didn't see that one.
he throws coffee in her face.
Tea or coffee?
Tea. I'm sorry. In
Reoccurring
America, we drink coffee.
Do you want to throw the tea at the computer?
Yeah, they really wanted you. That really annoyed me. So every time you do the tea thing and you dump it on the computer, he just dumps it on the keyboard. The computer is fine.
Well,
Yeah.
There's no reason to dump it on the screen. Keyboard would
I
just
don't-
ruin your keyboard.
No, I get that, but they act like you've destroyed your computer. You just destroyed the keyboard.
Well, maybe in 84, it's harder to get a replacement keyboard.
keyboards
Even it's
come
like
hardwired
destroy
to
your
the
computer. He breaks his keyboard. Your computer's fine. The monitor's right there. You didn't break it.
I will say the one lady who smashes her computer with the keyboard, that was a little bit more destroy, but
Yeah.
I guess
She
her
really
tower
just-
would have
that
been,
one
She
makes
really just
sense.
broke the monitor is all.
her tower would have been
Yeah.
okay, but good luck
Unless
getting
that was an
one back.
all-in-one.
It could have been an all-in-one. That's a fantastic point.
I mean, she
Speaking
was,
of how hard it was to get things in 1984, I have one final thing that drove me crazy. The fact that it was set in the 80s drove me crazy. I am done with the 80s fad. Like, as much as I love everything about the 80s, like the music, the way things look, the colors, I'm so tired of everything now being set in the 80s.
Well, I mean, it has to be the time before modern technology was born, and cell phones just basically ruin every outcome. of being
Cell phones
horror.
wouldn't have
I
ruined this
think
movie.
you could easily update this.
Yeah, this would have worked just fine in 2018.
Even
Sorry,
early
2019.
2000s.
Yeah.
Like,
She even
I
talks
think they
like,
just
you
want
have
the
my
aesthetic.
number, just call it. So let's not, there's no moment in this movie where it's determined on someone not being able to get in contact with another one, other than Colin goes missing, but that can still happen if someone just not been calling their phones off. Like, I don't know. Stranger Things, awesome, love it. But there's so many things coming out now that are like 80s vaporwave, synthwave, whatever, and it's just become such a fad now, and it's driving me absolutely insane, and it's destroying one of my like. I love it so much, but I'm so tired of seeing it in everything. It's the go-to for let's make it interesting.
That's how I felt about Star Wars.
Yeah, I feel like you have a twisted perception of Star Wars. It's always been the most popular thing in the world.
I mean, it just didn't feel as saturated. It's just because when you get a new movie coming out, there's excessive promotions for it.
I mean, it was
like, why do my sun-kissed oranges need to have BB-8 on them?
That's always been Star Wars.
But it hasn't.
Always.
It's the same reason.
Sun-kissed oranges here.
It's
like,
the same
I don't
reason
need to have that.
why McDonald's still advertises, even though everyone in the world, starving children in Ethiopia, know who Ronald McDonald is.
Well, they don't want you to forget it's a for-profit business.
They want to keep it in the forefront of your mind, so you will consume.
Star Wars has definitely been more of a marketing thing than a art thing since Episode 5. That was when Lucas was like, "We can make more money selling toys." Interesting.
That was those Transformers gig.
Rhymes.
Right? Yeah.
I'm an artist.
But I don't know. I'm ready for the next whatever it's gonna be.
The next fad.
I'm sure it'll be 90s next because they're gonna just keep cycling through. For a while, things were set in the 70s.
Like what?
Boogie Nights. Yeah, it's a movie. Don't worry about it. That 70s show. It's always calling back on the nostalgia of the people that are in the age that they get to make the things. And so it's always going to be something by like the young up and coming who is by at this point in terms of the industry they're in, probably in like their 30s. So people that are now to the point where they have enough of a career and credibility to get to make these things, that was their childhood.
So I mean, do you think originality exists anymore?
No. I think you can put new spins on things, but there's only 5 stories that can be told or something like that. In the overarching
if you
sense.
really want to break them down,
right. You got like the hero's journey, and then I can never remember the other 4.
Revenge,
right?
Love,
and it's
this tale as old as time.
Nothing's original. I'm repeating what I'm saying.
Do we wrap up?
Oh, we got more stuff.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I remembered one of my segments that I wanted.
Oh.
Continue.
Okay.
If you. I guess I'll aim this more towards you because we seem more on the spectrum of not a fan.
I enjoyed it, but I don't think it was groundbreaking.
Right.
And I think we agree for the same reason.
Yeah. Versus, I think you were more of on the liked it side.
He's a simpleton.
A humanoid.
Golly. Well,
he prefers to be called the Everyman.
I enjoy things for what they are.
Get your deeds and get out of here.
Stop hating fun. Gosh. No, but I mean, I do enjoy it, but I think the one thing why I enjoyed it so much more was the concept that to me, it is a new idea. It's a new idea and a new platform. We are taking an old idea.
To choose your own adventure is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, like that's an old idea. I get that, but when you're reinventing it instead of going with like digital books anymore, like great, that's great. You could choose your adventure, make it simple and easy. But now to bring it to an actual movie platform, which I don't think had been done, other than maybe video games, but that's more of an interactive.
Right.
It's not so much a just.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, I've never heard of anything this close to successful with that.
YouTube tried this a while back. They had.
Yeah, I remember that.
You could choose which video you go to next.
Yeah, and then would go to the next.
You just click it and then.
Yeah, they take it to the next video.
Yeah. But I feel
not the exact same.
Right.
I enjoyed it
It's
because of
definitely the
how
branch.
smoothly they did it. Like there wasn't like that initial choice. It sat there and loaded. Whereas you pick the choice and it just goes right into it.
It's very seamless.
Which is what I enjoyed. And
that might
amped it up for
made me mad the most.
What?
Because there's the whole
seamless.
Which do you want to choose? And you have at least 10 seconds to make your choice, and they have to vamp.
Yeah.
Come on, man. What do you want to do? Come work for us. It'll be great.
Yeah.
What do you say? What's your answer?
So
I get they have to do that because if you just cut, there'd be a very jarring shift. Games can do it because they're video games. You can do whatever you want in a program. But in a film or a movie, you have to have that gap and then have the transition.
From a technical standpoint, it's fucking phenomenal. From a narrative standpoint, it gets kind of wonky. Yeah.
I think that's kind of the thing that I noticed some video games do, where I was watching my girlfriend play Mass Effect the other day.
For the 19th time.
You play that a
Calling
little too
you
much.
out.
While
Wait.
they're still talking, it gives you the dialogue options, so there is no choice or like standalone wait period to to assist the flow of the conversation. Whereas I guess this movie gave you that 10-second window of,
They had to fill the air.
okay, then we're gonna do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
maybe they'll do it better.
if you could change something about it to sway you to the other side of the spectrum, like what would you have changed?
The only way that I would go full on board would be if every narrative was fully explored.
Okay.
If I wanted to, I want to dig down this number 23, and it's not actually a real demon, it's just this guy reading everything and reading into it, and all of a sudden, I am seeing the symbol, which is just the branching path. How do you not notice that? It's the
notice it on
demon,
the
the
house.
demon he put in the book. Like, yeah, that's the point. It's in the book. If that was fully explored, and then you saw the differences. Oh God, what's the comedian's name? It's like Dane Cook or Tosh or whoever, but they go on this bit about alternate endings, which are only slightly different, slightly off. When I see an alternate ending, Mighty Ducks, I want to see Emilio Estevez ODing on cocaine, and then all the other kids, they lose the game, and they're just blowing each other. They're having a huge, massive orgy in the locker room.
I don't wanna
That's
see
the
that.
ending I want to see.
That sounds illegal.
Something like that,
Yeah.
where it's massively different.
So
where Stefan goes off on a bender and moves to Mexico and starts snorting cocaine, that's the ending I want to see.
Go under the pretense that it's not a choose your own adventure, and it just picks one of those ideas. Which idea would you have wanted it to be in?
Ooh, I do really like the Donnie Darko. He can go back and alter things, and then a little bit of the butterfly effect.
Yep.
He keeps making things worse. That's why he's so kind of messed up and so awkward. I like that, and I really like the ending where he chooses to die. He chooses to go with his mom, knowing she's going to die,
Yep.
so he can die happy with her.
I think I would have liked to see that version too, and because there's a bunch of other like the mirror thing, you could bring that back, and he could kind of Van Helsing. That's how vampires get around. I think I would agree. The thing that I would have changed, other than like making the options count, I would have, if they're staying in the same choose your own adventure, I would have liked it to have been more a game of trying to outwit the demon. So like the whole time that demon is at his back, and it's not so much make this choice and then make 3 more choices and then you find out you lose. I would have liked to, if it was kind of like we talked about Until Dawn, make the wrong choice, demon kills you, sorry, try again. I think that would have been a cool thing that would have got me more engaged if I felt like I was trying to do something, trying to accomplish something, trying to pick the choice that would keep me away from the demon.
If you knew what your end goal was, like survival.
Right,
Your
yeah.
goal is to survive and get to the end.
Correct. Make more of a more of a game out of it, because I feel like every time a choice came up, I didn't give a fuck. It didn't seem like one way or the other had a real obvious like this is what the outcome's gonna be.
That may have been why I enjoyed it more, because when he goes to say destroy the computer or hit the desk, like my mentality while that was happening was like, well, you're making this game, why would you want to destroy it? You've taken some time, so hit the desk.
Yep.
And so that's kind of how I based my choices anyway, is I input that myself, which I think is what they're trying to go for, but
That's what I did the first time. The second time I was like, okay, throw T, and then it's end. You meet the end.
Right.
Like, well, okay, there's no point to that ending then. Like, I don't even get a end screen of.
I don't think he even throws a T, does he? Doesn't he do the resistance?
No, the first time when it's shout at dad or throw T, you throw T. He's like, that's all your work.
Fuck off, Dad.
And then it ends, and you go back. And then the second time, you start to do it, and you resist, and then you have the who's controlling me moment. And the third moment is when Colin's daughter in the future is. I didn't realize that's who it was.
Yeah.
I didn't even read the thing. I just saw Space Fleet reunites for whatever. Like, well, that's a reference to something. She does it, and then it ends. So they really like the T thing.
I think there is a kind of a cool don't know if it'd be psychological, or there's a cool thing that can be kind of gained out of the choice there, though. Would it be fair to say, in terms of movies that you prefer, you would gravitate more towards like that mind-bending time travel type, it's almost more science fiction end of things?
Not the heist.
Not necessarily
With
like
the heist.
Those are my type of movies.
Well, yeah, obviously your movie's a heist movie, but if you had to pick like a genre that you like, would you say you're more towards the sci-fi spectrum?
Yeah, sci-fi, fantasy,
And not necessarily like time travel, but just in general more sci-fi.
Yeah, something more futuristic or something I couldn't do,
right,
hypothetically.
And I
in the real world.
think, and obviously, like, I lean towards I Want the Demon, so like more like horror, supernatural end. I think that would be another cool way that they could kind of take that formula, is let you almost pick the genre that the movie plays out in. So if you want to go down the time travel sci-fi route, you can. If you want to go down the horror, try and escape, you can. If you want to go towards, I guess,
in this context of the movie,
there's not a really good
I
heist one.
I would do more about the drug trip aspect of it,
like trying to crack into the safe and all that kind of stuff.
Well, no, it more so like the drug trip with the time travel aspect of it. Like, if I had to pick a timeline specifically in this movie, I would want to more so explore, why does Colin know all this? So yeah, the time travel, and it's not time travel, but alternate universes.
Correct. Yeah, which is kind of time travel. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
That's a wibbly wobbly subject.
Right.
I would kind of like to have a choice before the movie happens. These are the paths, like you're saying, these are where you can go down, and then just pre-select them, and then just watch the movie as it plays out without the stops.
Almost kind of like a Mad Lib or something like.
Yeah. Give us a noun, left or right.
Doesn't that spoil
I'm
it,
gonna come back to.
I think if you word it in certain ways, because you don't know what's happening. If it just starts off, do you choose the left or the right? And you choose the right, and it chooses Sugar Puffs. You don't know. You're choosing cereal. Do you want, left or right? And you choose either Thompson Twins or Now That's Why I Call Music Volume 2.
So we're going to come back to my bias a little bit towards Until Dawn. But I assume you played it? Or you at least watched it?
Playthroughs.
So at the beginning of that game, you have your session with the therapist, and he kind of does a survey with you where he's like, which one of these affects you more?
And that sort of pre-generates.
Correct.
Do you not like clowns or do you not like demons?
That would have been a good way to then put that in, like, not necessarily like things directly related to plot points, but things kind of like which character from this movie are you? What would you do in this situation?
I don't know if it was Fatal Frame, but there was a horror game that did that. It changed based on your play style.
Yeah.
If you happen to be more run and gun, or if you happen to be more up in the face of things, then the AI of the game, I don't say AI, but the program of the game would then alter to make it more difficult, it still kind of forced you one direction or another, but it kept track of your choices. So, I guess I see where you're getting with it, but yeah, it's been done.
Yeah, it has. But I think that's the crux of one of the big cruxes of my issue with this movie is it can't commit to being a narrative, and it can't commit to being a game, because it's trying to be somewhere in the middle, and I think it fails on both.
It's like those made for TV games. Where you ever had those on the DVDs? So
no.
Land Before Time had a small one where you'd play the game with the remote. They were trying to be innovative, and it was terribly executed, all sorts of delay with the button pressing, and no one handles a TV remote because the buttons aren't made to be pressed consistently. So they're doing a better choice of it, but
Nice.
That hits every note that I had on here, honestly. So I don't know if you guys have anything else.
I think we already touched on the final thoughts.
Yeah. Nay.
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 Wilbur.
Did we talk about the Will Poulter controversy?
Oh, we had not. No.
Do you want to do like MVP?
I still got that going on for sure, but that's like the wrap up. Because I know he wanted to talk about
the post wrap up.
I was just gonna say I don't understand why people had such an issue with him and why they decided.
Yeah, they just decided to bully him based on his facial structure, which honestly I don't find that odd. He's got some striking like eyebrows, but it's not like.
Have you seen Cucumber Batch?
Cumber bitches.
Yeah,
Cumber Biatch.
Like. He's all whack, but people are like, ooh,
this is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah,
or nice people.
The internet is
Twitch
toxic.
plays Pokemon. Yeah. You can't. They put a female in a movie? I'm offended, you snowflake.
I did like his response to it though. He was like, I don't like this, so I'm just gonna sign off. Yeah, like that's the proper response to when people are giving you grief. It's like, you don't have to be here for this. There's no like, he has no obligation to have a Twitter account. I don't give a fuck if all these people are like, but I like him. It's like, if he doesn't want to be here, he doesn't have to be here. His life will go on just fine without Twitter.
Yep.
He looks so familiar. I cannot place him. I've not seen him in anything else.
Do you look through his
IMDb?
Okay, yeah. So I
Which,
haven't seen The
which to be
Revenant.
fair, the photo he uses on there is a school shooter, if I ever saw one. It
He
is.
looks terrifying.
He
And
looks
yeah, now
very
that you
threatening.
mention it, I was like, where else have I seen him from?
Mine was the movie with We Are the
Revenant.
Millers. We Are the Millers is the one I saw him
I
in.
remember The Revenant. That's
Oh, he
one.
was in that?
Yeah.
He's in The Revenant?
Yeah.
Who's he in The Revenant?
I think he was Revenant. oh, sorry. He was the bear.
He was Bridger.
Bear.
I don't know who Bridger was. I'll find out.
Well,
Wait,
he's
was he the one
haven't seen The
that
Revenant.
stayed with?
You haven't?
He stayed with
People walked out.
They walked out. It wasn't that bad of a movie.
Oh no, people walked out of the bear scene because it was too graphic for them. We had one in my watching of it at the restaurant movie theater place. See what I'm talking about? It's over. What's where the mall used to be, where Target is. Anyway, we were watching the film while eating, and then they had to pause the film because apparently someone had passed out watching it, and it's like, oh,
These are the
Great.
weak people.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
This is
These
why
are the
we
people that
need-
see something on Netflix and be like, it's the best thing ever.
We need to call the herd.
Yeah.
We need a happening.
A colon.
we need to play.
Can we watch The Happening? I love The Happening. I will watch The Happening any day of the week.
You would.
Oh, top 5 comedy of all time.
I'm not gonna lie.
What?
I'm very tempted to steal the cardboard cutout of Mark Wahlberg from my office.
Do
just
it.
To borrow it.
If we do The Happening, 100% do it. And now we will do The Happening at some point.
Mackie Mac.
He's probably in our area at some point. We should see if he wants to come on the show.
I highly doubt it.
Hey, Mark, you want to come on?
Hey, we
be in
watched
a
your
corner?
movie.
Say-
Come talk about it.
Say
God, that would
say
be-
hello to your mother for me.
That would blow my mind if that was a real thing. That's too bad.
Every time.
All right,
Wahlberg, you're in the area. Come check us out.
let's hit the super wrap up mind blowing part here. What was your what the fuck moment?
It's one of the different endings, honestly.
Which one?
Well, first off, my first ever one, first watching it, was the one where he jumps off the thing. Like I wasn't necessarily expecting him to have that. Like we're
Okay, got you.
Colin jumps off.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so that happens. Shit. It's like what the fuck? So yeah, no, that was definitely mine when I first originally watched it. When I watched it with my girlfriend, and we both were just like, okay, but essentially, yeah.
Should
And then
we-
the Netflix one was the next one.
I don't know if she'll ever be on here, but should we start referring to her as a code name? Perhaps her anger name?
Mayonnaise?
Oh no, didn't she have one like something about Trash Lord?
Her social media account name?
Yeah.
Nah.
Okay. Maybe we'll let her choose
I
that.
call her mayonnaise.
Okay, mayonnaise.
So
I'm with you. We won't have to divulge. We'll let her
it's
tell
a
us
really
how she's
short
ever here.
backstory. She put mayonnaise on a grilled cheese.
Because she panicked.
Yes. She said it was surprisingly delicious.
Okay.
Actually, a lot of people do that. I thought it was a chicken sandwich.
No,
or
it was a
something,
grilled cheese.
something weird. I don't know.
Straight
Anyways,
up grilled cheese.
What was your what the fuck moment?
It was either when I accidentally got all the endings and it just ended. I was like, what the fuck, it's over? Or it's the second time through at the drug scene when I said, okay, I'm going to select no. And the motherfucker drugs me.
Yep, it forces the narrative on.
I'm
you.
like, I chose no. You took away my choice.
Yep. But
Fuck
don't you get
this.
it? That's the whole thing.
That's what kind of annoyed me. Because you don't get points for pointing out the theme
Yeah.
and then following through on the theme.
Right.
Like, I get it, but fuck you, Bandersnatch.
Their fist weighed 1,000,000 pounds because it was heavy-handed.
Crushed by the hand of God.
My what the fuck moment is realizing that my choices don't matter. So very similar to yours. After the first one, I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Okay, we're doing this.
Just at that point, just make it a longer episode, and I'd be fine. Because I'm sure if they had taken away the gimmick, I probably would have enjoyed the episode. Because it would have been, again, I know the theme, I understand this, I've seen it a million times, but they could have, like I said, went into more depth and detail on some of those little minor plots to make it more interesting.
My question is there like an actual like official ending though?
The whole point of it is it's up to you.
Yeah.
You could mix and match.
I mean, like
say,
if you just let the remote go, I didn't remember which one it defaulted to in the beginning.
Yeah, there are some. Like when the choice between Colin or Stefan, I didn't choose. And then Stefan jumped. I'm like, well, fuck you too.
Yeah.
So maybe it makes you run through all the different endings anyway.
My favorite one was when it just gave you the option for no.
Pick your choice. No. Oh,
Yep.
okay. Well, that's the thing later on you can pick.
I was gonna say that was the only relatively interesting option, because like once you told me later you have the option to get your bunny back, I assume that's where it says yes. What was your favorite scene?
The drug trip scene. Only because the visual effects that are done in that are pretty awesome. The color palette is great, and then I've never done any of that, so I couldn't tell you if what he has seen was true, but I mean, the whole like swirling paintings and the light up fingers and all that stuff really got me. And then when the fucking dude's eyeballs started melting, I was just like, yikes.
Yeah, knowing enough people that have done those sort of things, because I also have not, for obvious reasons. Our brains are too messed up to be stuck in that for a long time. That sounds very, very accurate to how it goes. And like things just start interacting on their own and melting. And
I don't know how. It's amazing to me the brain can do that.
Yep. What you got?
I got a story.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
Please don't be about the therapist.
The rapist.
The rapists for 100.
Peter File.
No, when I was living here in town, we were in a little crappy little apartment that was just a mirror of each other. We had a buddy who, for some reason, decided to drop knockoff acid.
Oh boy.
Or
That
he's
already
like,
sounds
it's
awful.
not LSD, but it's basically LSD.
It's DSL.
I'm like, why? Don't take that here. Like, too late. Cool. So he starts tripping.
Great, now you got
then
babysit.
he grabs a blanket, he wraps it up, he's like, gotta go to the bathroom, man. Goes over to my bathroom and then sits down. Then he gets out, he goes, your bathroom's really scary. I'm going to your roommates. I'm like, they're the exact same bathroom. It's gonna look the exact same, buddy.
But it's inverted, right?
I think mine was blue, his was red.
But like layout wise, would they have been mirrored image?
Yeah.
Because that can be super weird to people sometimes. like how women prefer to see themselves flipped because they're used to seeing themselves in the mirror. So that's why a lot of times when you see like a girl's profile picture, like it's backwards. It's a weird it's a weird psychology bit that you're used to seeing yourself inverted because you're used to seeing yourself in the mirror, and that's why people will take a picture and be like, something looks weird, I don't like that one, but they'll flip it and they'll be like, that looks better, because that's what you're used to
Get my
seeing.
good side.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
So that could have potentially played a factor into his bad trip.
My actual run favorite scene, right?
Yep.
Because I talked about the whole Netflix, me and my friend from the future.
Back to Greenbow, Alabama.
If it's not that, it's Colin's just out of nowhere drug-induced rant.
Ooh, about Pac-Man.
Program and control. The government puts microphones in your cheese. They're listening and watching and recording and reading our thoughts and other things.
It was good, but it also was one of those things that where I was watching, I was like, okay, so that's going to be a thing later.
Yeah.
See, I kind of wish our friend was more like that, but not. He comes over, the one who's likes to get in Facebook jail all the time, because I feel like he'd
Pipe
have
bomb.
that
You're
kind
talking
of
about the pipe bomb.
the Polish
pipe bomb. Member of this group still, technically.
Yeah, he'll see it. Shout out. But yeah, no, I feel like he not sober would be interesting to talk to.
Oh, yeah, it's the same thing as when he's sober. He doesn't change.
Oh.
I like to just get him on rants. I was doing it the other night on Discord.
Birdman, on the other hand.
He'll go on a tangent sometimes. My favorite scene, I put LSD, I guess. But now thinking back to it, it might be when he saw the demon, just because I really did like the design of the demon. It did have a striking
He looked like
design.
a scary old Greg.
That
Kind of, yeah. He did.
I'm
kinda.
old Greg.
Right?
That would have been a twist.
Downstairs mix up.
Yeah,
That was a little shocking to see.
yeah. I
Up to that
didn't think
point,
they would do it.
You
Yeah,
didn't see anything like that.
yeah. It was the purest form of horror, because like a big thing of Black Mirror is it is horror based. Like a lot of it is psychological, like, oh man, that situation would suck, but I did not expect to see the demon. No matter how many times they drew it, I didn't think he would ever fully realize it. And that's another thing where it kind of irritated me, because once he saw the demon, I was like, oh cool, maybe it's gonna be like
'Cause it feels
you're
more
gonna reoccur.
supernatural.
Yeah, maybe like the game is cursed or something, and I don't know.
Oh God, what was that movie? It had Frankie Muniz. And
Oh, yeah,
the
Stay
game-
Alive.
Is that what it's called?
Solid awful movie. I love it. It's pretty good. We'll watch
Come to
it
me,
sometime.
clouds. Now my wrath begins.
Get your roses ready. Who is your most valuable player?
Colin. I just enjoy his character overall. And the one thing I've noticed, and you maybe have noticed it, he's the one that sticks out the most, and I feel like that was on purpose. Bright red shirt.
Yep.
Yellow fucking hair.
Yep.
And then that whole red color occurs so frequently, like when he's a baby, he's wearing all red. The room is red.
All red, yep.
And like, I don't know exactly what the message for it is, because I guess I'm not as educated, but I kept thinking maybe red herring, but that's probably not the case.
Possibly.
My guess is it was more just to draw your eye on these particular moments to kind of keep those as your focus.
He's supposed to be like, I don't know if there's what the proper word would be. You're more like familiarized with those like trope words and reoccurring words and things like that. But he, to me, seemed like the omnipresent, but like the all-knowing character. Like,
Oh, Colin.
yeah, he was the one that seemed to know the most and realized that someone else was in control of everything, knew that it was all a simulation or whatever you want it to be. And I wonder if that was supposed to be kind of the deal, is that he was the one that was raising a lot of the red flags. He was the one that was pointing things out, and he was lighting things up for this guy.
He was the glitch in the Matrix.
Basically, the girl in the red dress in the Matrix. You didn't notice that, did you? Because you were paying attention to her.
I feel like if, again, they had chosen one narrative, that's what he would have been. But in this, he bounced between the guy who's accidentally telling the audience and the character what's going on, and then outright saying, I know what's going on. He kind of bounces in between breaking the fourth wall or sort of doing it, but not. Because in the beginning, you think, okay, in the hole could just mean what he says it means, or it could be this. Or when he says, better luck next time. There's a lot of endings where they're interviewing people.
Sometimes it's
calling.
innuendo, sometimes it's just flat out referencing it and winking at the camera.
There's sometimes where he'll try to the camera and says, I'd tell him to try again, or better luck in the next life.
Yep.
Like, well, we know that means the next time we try. But he kind of bounces.
And one of the things that I liked, but then they immediately dropped, was the first time you fail and you come back. It's like, how did you know that?
Like, oh, we met before.
Yeah.
No, we
Have
haven't.
we
No,
met?
have.
There's actually a third version of that too, which I thought was kind of clever, and I hope that they had done that throughout the film. But that seemed to be the only time where they had kind of
no one seemed to be altered in any way. Like, by failing, I think that there should have been things where people are like, something's off about this, but it never comes back. Once you fail the first time, if you fail again, it just starts you back over.
That first one right there, the beginner's trap, you were designed to fall into it.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you would know choosing no actually continues the story. And even after you choose yes, he says, great, we'll cut out everything, you'll have no control.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not what I agreed to.
And that's what we're doing.
And it was designed to be like that.
Yeah. My MVP. Wait, did you say yours? You haven't said yours yet.
Go to yours so I can figure one out.
Soundtrack. I like the music. It was good.
Is it because it's 80s and you're so sick of it?
I feel like we covered this and you didn't listen. I clearly said that I love everything about the 80s. I'm just tired of it being thrown in front of me. But 80s music is amazing. Like, it's the last great bastion of popular music, in my opinion. Like 90s alternative music's great, but I don't want to hear Britney Spears or NSYNC. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No,
My immortal.
Well, now we're back into the 2000s. But like, there's even in the record store when he's looking like through his list, there's some bands on there, and I'm like, hey, yeah, I know some songs by them. I like that.
The Cure. Bauhaus.
Yeah, but I never know how to say it. Bauhaus. Bauhaus.
Fedora.
Bela Lugosi is dead. And even some of the records that are in there, like I had the Who record that they have in there. I was like, it's Tommy, I think. I don't know for sure, but yeah, I liked the soundtrack more than anything else. That'll be generally the one thing in this giant wave of 80s inspired cinema and media that will not be annoying to me. Is the music that they're choosing will always be something I enjoy.
Fair enough.
I want to have sex with his therapist.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
All right.
MVP therapist. Got it.
Nice.
He gives me a tingling sensation in my naughty bits.
I am so happy they didn't give that option in there. Fuck your therapist. She's
Okay,
just over
so-
there. Let's talk about your mom. How about you call me mommy?
Okay. I seriously thought they were going down that route. Because when you go back in the
Oedipus
office,
complex.
and it's like, so you think you're being controlled by someone from the future, and they're watching you on TV, right? So for enjoyment, wouldn't you want more action if you were watching this?
Yeah, that is
And choices are yeah in caps or fuck yeah. I'm like fuck yeah, and then we fight. I'm like, oh, I was hoping for something else.
You know, now that you're mentioning it, his therapist, I initially was confused because I thought his therapist was his mom, because I wasn't really paying attention the first time that they go and have that talk. It's like, is he talking to his mom right now? Like, but then they established that he's in therapy.
I really think you should talk about your mother.
Yeah, that's when I was like, oh, so this isn't his mom, okay. But yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, they totally could have went the Oedipal complex. Yeah.
If I was in charge.
Hey, did your thing ever start going?
Kinda. It did a bloop, and that was it. It's so old, so maybe, I don't know.
I don't think they
Probably takes a
expire. I
lot
think it's
longer.
just disappointing like this movie.
Oh, wait. It's moving more. We're about
Oh.
to have a bubble.
Oh,
They're about to-
hey.
and then it's starting to liquefy. Finally.
Just in time for us to wrap it
An
up.
hour and a half in. Thank you, Lava Lamp.
And on that note,
On that bombshell.
It just keeps
back to the tent.
gross. Anyway.
That came out.
Yeah.
Season 3.
Watch the first, well, only the first episode.
Yeah.
It was good.
Oh,
Grand Tour.
I forgot
Grand
it was
Tour.
coming out, and I got so excited, and then I realized, oh right, they do week by week.
Yep. I watched the first episode on your account, and it was a good one.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Your account.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. I gave that. I forgot about that. I should not.
What's the next
search-
topic? Are
I
we
should
good?
not search.
Oh yeah, we hit all of them.
We
We
hit
hit the MVPs. We fully delved into Bandersnatch.
Bandy
It
or
sounds
snatch.
so dirty.
It does. I
Because
don't.
the word snatch.
Can we do a
That
real
is-
quick?
yeah.
Can we do a real quick look up and see if that's some sort of reference to something? Like I don't.
The Bandersnatch is in Through the Looking Glass
Okay.
to Alice in Wonderland, and his whole thing is about parallel worlds. And
Yeah. Okay. There it is. I knew I had to have some sort of like relevance to what they were
I had to
telling
look
here.
that up. But
Yeah.
it sounds so dirty.
So let's see. I picked Fast and Furious. Wait. What? No, that we just watched that. Tokyo Drift, right? That was the
Yeah.
last one. And then we
Yeah.
watched the first Fast and Furious Holds Up. So you picked this one. So
Well,
that brings it around
I
to you.
recommended Bandersnatch.
Did you?
Yeah.
I thought that would.
Well, I told him to ask you to watch
Well, we
it.
all know that. Every man.
You pick. What do you want?
I do want to watch The Happening.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
What? No.
The table's getting higher over there. What's going on?
I had to Ultimate Warrior shake it. There's our one wrestling reference per episode.
I don't think we had one last episode. did we?
Oh, I'm sure we did. Tom, I have a disorder.
Spectrum.
Yeah, I'm definitely on that one. 100%.
So yeah, that has been episode 39, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If not, choose in the link to watch the next video to see what the ending would be.
Can you like edit up things to pop up and it says like or subscribe,
Oof.
or just subscribe on both? You don't get the actual you get the illusion of choice.
Yes.
At the end,
Yeah.
maybe. I probably
That'd
won't
be
do that,
genius.
though. I'll probably forget. Let's be real. Let's be real.
Editing's been just going downhill. Anyway.
Jump over this table and kick you like Spider-Man.
We appreciate you sticking around. I don't think I have any sort of Facebook things. We do have a Twitter account now that I finally figured out how to just have multiple in the same account that I just easily switch around, so I don't have to sign out, sign in. So I think I posted that on the Facebook. It's just the snap code, but the Twitter code. I'll have to add that to our thirds bar, and that's about all I have.
So we're finally accessible to the smart folk out there without the Facebook. Like I say, yo.
So thanks for watching.
Yeah.
See you again.
Goodbye.
Or will we?